And we're back.
And we're back.
Our pleasure to see you again.
Pleasure to see you again. Pleasure to see you again. Um,
Uh,
so we're sort of between shows,
at the
right?
moment, yeah, yeah.
But we got some things to chat about.
hmm
Yeah, so hit me with what's on your viewing list and what you're thinking about.
So on my viewing list, I think it would be great to watch that interesting show, Severance. I've heard, a few things about it. I hear it's a pretty good show, I think. Have you watched?
Based on that idea and that I had some work to do, I'm on about episode 6 right now. So I look
Six.
forward
Okay, so
to catch up and we can chat about it. It's actually like really good. What I will say is the reason that I watched it, I don't know what I thought it was about. I don't know I'm not sure why I was not attracted to it originally. Um, but then I heard that John Turtur Turturro and Christopher Walken were in it, both these like crazy character actors, and so I was just so interested in seeing it because of them, because I didn't realize they were in it. And anyways, it's
mm,
good. I think it's, and then I realized it's Ben Stiller is the director. Uh, Ben Stiller is an actor. He's been in a ton of like, I guess, kind of comedy things.
I think Ben Stiller is he the main character or like the main
He's not
protagonist for
in
the
it.
show?
He's the
He's
director,
not. Oh, okay.
or he's the producer and stuff. He
Hmm.
directed the
Well,
first
I heard that
episodes,
one
but
the main character I think is from a popular show, Parks and Rec. It's a comedy.
right. And yeah, right. I've only watched a couple of those episodes.
Hmm.
Um,
Parks
but
and Rec?
Parks and Rec, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's I think he's later on into the show, but it's a comedy. It's pretty good. It's pretty
Mhm.
funny.
Yeah, and but Ben Stiller is like is has been around for a while. He was in a ton of movies that I like, the Royal Tenenbaums. He was
Hmm.
in that movie. He was in I don't know, he's been in a bunch of kind of movies where he plays this like crazy dad. I don't know why I can't like he's not somebody that like I go out and watch his movies for him necessarily. He was in like again like 30 years ago There's Something About Mary, which is kind
Hmm.
of like a rom-com at the time, which is kind of a bit crazy. I'm just trying to think about what he was in a movie with God, I can't remember what the heck it was where like there was anyways, he always plays this like weird, like neurotic kind of character and stuff like that. Anyways, he's not
Right.
in this, but I think he's like I think this is his show. Like I think he's
Hmm.
created it and he
Int
directed the first couple of ones and stuff. And it's good. Like it's definitely sci-fi,
right.
It's definitely there's it's talking about a lot of different things and I'm not exactly sure where like there's layers getting peeled back and stuff. So
Right.
definitely let's try and get on the same
Yeah,
page. I
definitely.
did have some
Yeah.
late night work that I needed to do and watch something, so
Yeah.
it's a good one. So
Speaking of in between shows,
yeah.
some shows that I'm, excited to, maybe see eventually are, let's see, Andor season 2 coming
When
up
does
in
that
A
start?
April 22.
Okay, so 3 months,
Yeah.
2.5 months.
Yeah, 2.5 months. It's that's, like I think that's the biggest show for us, what we're waiting on.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't seen anything recently, but I'm sure I'll just search up now, things like
Are there any, there's no shows that other shows that you're watching or like what have you watched
Um,
that's interesting or
let's see. Like there are shows. There's a show that I'm enjoyed called Invincible. It's an animated like take on like the superhero idea, and like
oh,
it's the idea of like what if the Superman archetype isn't as pure-hearted as we thought, and that kind of story arc.
yeah,
So excited about
it's a,
that.
it's a show like it's a movie or
Yeah,
it's
it's an animated show. It's uh, you may like it. I'm not sure. Season 3 is going to be coming out tomorrow, or like part of it. So I'm excited for that.
nice.
Um, Next is I haven't sadly heard any recent news about either Silo, Fallout, or Secret Levels, but I'm sure they'll be getting their seasons eventually. A show that I would like to chat with you for a bit would is this 40k show called
Warhammer 40k, you mean?
yeah, Warhammer 40k. It
Got it.
called Astartes. So let me tell you a little bit about
Called what,
this.
sorry?
Astartes.
Astartes. Okay.
That's so let me tell you a bit about it. So a fan created his own like fan animation. A lot of people do this for Warhammer 40k. Warhammer 40k, the Games Workshop, the people who own the IP, got pretty upset about it, as big companies do when small tiny little creators make something out of the love of their heart, and make into something, and had it removed. But people brought it back to the internet because there's no way to really destroy it. That same creator, it seems, got hired by Games Workshop to make that Secret Levels episode with Warhammer 40k.
Oh wow.
hmm and not only that, but
So
he's
in the
getting
end they
his.
really liked what he had done kind of thing.
Yeah, yes. They're, they black bagged him and said, "Hey, congratulations, you have a job. Please do not resist."
Yeah.
Um, but now the creator of that show is getting his own Astartes show as well. So I think, maybe if we want to take some time to, watch that and, come back and chat about it, for the trailer for the new show. And I'd really like it
Okay,
if you
so
could
sorry, so far there's just the trailer.
trailer for the show, basically.
Okay.
I think. But it's a let me preface something. You're more, I would, safely guess that you're more of a like talking kind of person. You're more for like shows. You're more interested in like, the dramas, or like,
Well, what I
espionage stuff versus,
right, I
big
was going to
fight
say
scenes.
what I like are you know thrillers, things that are there's a bit of mystery, something to solve, stuff going on,
Right.
adventures, arcs, all that stuff, but without the gun battles and the car chases. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And
Okay.
and
Well,
so, give me a movie with that, without those, that's what I'm into, or a show or whatever, right? And so, for
yeah.
instance, there was, and maybe we talked about this recently. Uh, there was a show that was called The Agency, which was actually kind of a remake of a French show called The Bureau. That's a spy thing, and so I watched that, and I really liked it
Mhm.
first season, and then I went back and there were two other shows that I'd seen before, Night Agent and The Recruit or something like that, and they had new seasons out, and I was so excited because we're between shows, and yet when I watched them, it's like they had so little plot that there was just so much fighting and shooting and
Right.
running,
Yeah.
jumping and stuff. And it's like, okay, but like You know what I mean?
You're more interested in people chatting versus a person
Well, I
shooting
want to
another
see the
person.
plot. I want to see
Right.
like the stuff evolving. Like, okay,
Right.
if you need a fight and a gun battle and a chase to resolve something, fair enough. But like, I don't want like 25% of every show every week, so to speak, every episode to be like fighting and gun battles and chases.
Right.
No thanks.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So I gotta say, I really enjoyed Astartes and the season for it. But do you remember much about
Oh,
the
sorry, sorry. Is there a trail route or there's a whole season out or there's
there is a
or
trailer for the season
okay.
out.
Yeah.
So, if you wanted to watch it,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll watch it in a second. So tell me about
yeah.
it.
So I asked you, like, how do you feel about, shooting and stuff as just like the Secret Levels episode. This show is a bit less on the talking side and more on the big man shoot big gun and bad guy.
Right. Well, I mean, I see that Warhammer's that like that sort of, you know.
Yeah, like there is definitely a place for, a lot in Warhammer for, like I mean, I will pull up. Let me tell you some, let me give you a little rundown for Warhammer, a bit of some information for Warhammer 40k. All right. Um uh there is an event called the War hang on, let me there's an event in Warhammer 40k called called the Horace Heresy. And this event this event changes like the course of Warhammer's lore, basically. Like and everything that happens in the story is because, of this event, this Horus Heresy. And this heresy, this heresy was so bad that it basically turned the Imperium into the dark and decrepit place that it is. And this event is, has a lot of books written about it. A lot of them.
Was there,
So
sorry, was there an official telling and then everyone's written or there's lots of book like are there all official books kind of or
as far as I can tell, they are all official, meaning that each book is sorry, it's the map is just here. I here let me just here let me just show you you're gonna have to allow sharing to be turned on. The it's the Horus Heresy is a very important event in the lore, and it shows in the amount of books that is about this.
try
Because
again?
it's so this is what it looks like.
And what is that? Sorry?
This right here is the Horus Heresy. This right here is like
This is an explainer of like the
all
history of
yeah, so the end of the Horus
just
Heresy
just your typical TV show
is this. This right here is the end.
the
And
soap.
all of this is like different tie-ins and different books about different events,
Wow,
all culminating into this.
crazy.
And this really explains the lore of Warhammer 40k. If you had a book and each word was a and like each word, each page was like a different plot thread or idea or story thing that was overdone. Like I'm forgetting the word, but like basically either written out or like made to not be canon anymore. That is how like you would get like a Moby Dick plus the Bible's worth of like stuff that like they've just written out of lore because it's so confusing. And
Right.
people didn't want that, or people just changed it because I want to introduce a new faction to the game. Like it's quite a lot. And to learn all the Warhammer 40k lore, there are videos on YouTube that people have done, and it'll be just them talking about this one event, and it'll be like 2 hours long. Like the lore
Well,
of
this is not a
40k is
Warhammer. This is not a
dense.
Warhammer podcast. We
Sadly,
don't
sadly
mind.
not,
We don't
sadly
mind
not.
chit-chatting about it now and then.
But luckily enough, I'm pretty sure that this show won't be that.
Right.
I'm sure it's going to be, touching on different groups, different people, but it's going to be lore light. It's going to mainly, I think, focus on the big man shoot big gun side of 40k. And I'm excited for it. You don't have to watch the series. I mean, like I still need to figure out where you can even watch it because it's not exactly
Series or
clear.
the trailer, but
The series, the trailer's out on YouTube
yeah.
actually. But if ever I can, I will definitely want to watch it. You don't have to watch this show, but yeah,
Well, we'll
we'll
you
see.
can you can recap if I've not watched it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I may just have to record myself talking about it by myself and send that to you because it's you don't even have to watch the video I make. It'll just be there for any Warhammer fans that pass along
Okay.
and say, "Hey, you know what? I want to see this young man talk about my interest
Right.
on a podcast that is shared with his father, who is
There you go. Okay. Well, let's we're gonna watch the trailer anyways, right?
yeah, yeah. So we just watched the
Wow.
Astartes II. How do you feel about it?
Uh
It represents everything you don't really go into watching a
well,
show
no,
usually
I
for.
just mean like it's it's quite powerful. My first question, it's a side note to why is it our Astartes 2?
I'm assuming that it's called that because the original fan-made series was called Astartes, and
I see.
Astartes are is like the fancy name for Space Marine, basically.
Space Marine, yeah.
Yeah, Space
Like
Marines.
those
The
guys with
war, yeah, the lore in the lore, they're called the Adeptus Astartes.
I see. Okay. And is there a king? I can't remember. Like, is there a leader or
There,
something
there
or
is a both king in the sense of like I'm the ruler,
hmm
and also in the sense of I'm a religious individual called the God Emperor or the Emperor of Mankind.
hmm
He's both the king because he outlawed all religions everywhere because he said putting faith in deities gives powers to dark and evil things, and there isn't any religion, there isn't any gods, don't think about that. And also, he became that religious figure because now he's the only thing keeping like in Warhammer 40k, humans use the warp to get from place to place. If you want safe access to the warp, you need a bunch of stuff, including the God Emperor being sacrificed 1,000 people a day on his throne to make sure that the gates basically are safe-ish. So he's both the king because, he did make the Imperium, and he's also the king because if he dies, everyone dies.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
he's both got he's an asshole. Like he does things for the good of mankind, but he thinks individual humans are basically thinks of them as like singular cells in your body. Like you want to do good for yourself, not, for Tom, the blood cell. You're not doing it for him. So he does things for the betterment of mankind, but also in the end royally screws shit up. Like you saw how in the beginning there was that big huge city, right? Like all the like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
mankind lives in that and lives in like what would basically at certain times basically be like medieval peasants. Like certain worlds are literally medieval peasantries, except that like sometimes we have a big cathedral like titan thing that walks around and stops you from rebelling. Or
Right.
sometimes you end up on a thing called a hive world, which houses uncountable billions in one mega structure, and everyone except for the top echelons hates their lives.
Yeah, it-
It's literally the definition of grim dark. Like Warhammer
right.
has
There's there's all that grim dark. Like it's both like medieval sort of, right?
mhm,
Armor and
knighthoods and
knights and
brotherhoods and
things
like
and
swords and stuff.
yes and but
Science fiction as well.
also that sci-fi grim kind,
Yeah.
it's yeah,
Like
it's
they
weird how
like
dystopian takes you back to the, pre
yeah, like for
1000.
example, that's literally like for example, at one point look there's a big like punching fight scene. The guys that they're f punching are literally like orcs, like fantasy orcs but science fictionized. Like that's so like you've got like where like the Space Marines are known as basically like monks, like a monk brotherhood.
Right,
And and like there are different Space Marine chapters, like one of them being the the Dark Angels, who are basically fantasy knights, like lore, like the Knights of the Round Table, but in space suits. With all like in the knighthood, like Azazel or Abigail, whatever, like fancy names. And then you've also got like at one point like weird aliens that are like bug aliens or like guys in like tech high-powered invisibility suits fighting the space marines. Like there's a mix of fantasy and science fiction, and it
right,
mixes together into making a depressing world to live in.
right. It's a lot of, yeah, it's a lot of
Yeah, you don't
a
have
lot
to
of
watch it.
a
I'm
lot of
totally fine with
a lot
that.
of killing. You got
Y-
to be enjoying the swinging of
Yeah.
sword and the axe.
I personally really do enjoy, stories that, take their time, take their pace to, set up a amazing world like the Silo. But I'm also one who enjoys is the monkey brain of punching bad guys with your fist,
Well,
because
I
that's
mean,
another way to solve the problem.
if we're talking about story and lore, clearly Warhammer, has like
Oh yeah,
deep and complicated lore and stuff.
absolutely. Warhammer has
It's
got
just that
lore and
it's you know
it's a tough thing to get into.
the day-to-day viewing is a lot of combat, right?
Yeah, yeah, like Warhammer 40k.
Whereas Silo is on the other end of the.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's Silo's amazing. Silo's not like this because Silo's
There's a
10
bit
out
of
of 10
violence not
amazing.
forgetting to, but
Yeah, yeah. Warhammer 40k is a beautiful thing.
hmm,
It's like the ocean, it's amazing. It's got such wonderful creatures, but it's really fucking deep.
right.
So you can admire it from afar. Yeah, it's like either you admire it from afar and
I
know a
was
little bit of it, or you dive right in and deal with the sharks.
right.
Because it's
I was gonna say that in terms of the ocean that it's like it looks beautiful, but it's also like violent
and
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 dangerous.
terrifying because you don't know what's under
Terrifying.
your
Yeah.
feet. You
Yeah.
don't know if you're about to get jawsed.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this up. Start
Next
watching,
time,
touch
yeah,
base. Start
well,
watching some Severance. Let's see how you like that.
yeah,
We'll find some other things, and
yeah.
uh,
And I may record my. I'll need to figure out when
you do
that
that. You do that.
Astartes
We'll talk
show.
about
We'll
yeah.
Yeah, we'll chat about that. See how we can watch that. But yeah, I don't know when those other amazing shows like Fallout are gonna come out. I really hope soon, but they're taking their time. They're getting there. But until we meet again, stay safe out there, people. It's a crazy world.
Yes, until we meet again. Stay safe out there, people.
Remember to subscribe, like, leave a comment,
Keep those likes and comments
give
coming.
us your till till we meet again.
Yeah. Yeah. Take care.